You want to know what makes me just want to take a story, cram it into a rocket, shoot it up right at the sun, and let it burn for all eternity? It's when a writer refuses to use the romantic elements and subplots within their story to show actual character progression, and instead they treat their characters like prizes to be won. It is infuriating. It is degrading. Hi there, everyone. Lars here with a writer's rant, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And seriously, this is something that needs to be addressed. Recently in the Harem, we have kind of taken to looking at a lot of little romance stories. And there's some really great ones out there, but a trend that we've seen, a kind of a disturbing trend, has been how many writers treat their characters as items, as prizes to be won in the battlefield, upon the battlefield of romance. And that is honestly a chance, a possibility you have wasted. These writers have wasted opportunities to progress their characters, to grow them, to sculpt relationships by instead treating their characters like pieces on some grandiose chessboard of love. No, this is something that has to stop. I'm going to give you two good reasons why this needs to change. Number one, think of your story. Think of the characters within your story. What you want is you want your audience to connect with these characters. You want them to love them, not because of what they go through per se, but for who they are. You want an audience to truly connect with them. That is how they then come to be involved with the struggles and the events within your plot. That is really when they connect to the romance, rather than just simply show up to get their jollies and then move on. You don't want that. You want your audience to connect. The best way that your audience can connect to any sort of romantic plot or romantic subplot is that the characters act like actual people. It doesn't matter if they are human, elf, robot, AI, alien, ethereal being. It doesn't matter. So long as they have qualities that people can actually identify with and that they go through progression that is plausible, that is meaningful. That is what draws people to your story and keeps them there. And you are wasting that opportunity by treating your characters like items. And it is even more degrading to them when it happens in romance, because then they're just like freaking Bella Swan, no personality whatsoever, just simply there for everyone to gush over, for the guys to be like, she's so perfect, I must have her. And she's such a freaking blank slate that anyone can insert themselves into Bella. That's just, honestly, that's dumb. I don't care if Twilight was one of the most popular series of all time. It's still bad writing. And you want to know what? Everyone who has tried it since then hasn't reached anywhere near the same level of success or of popularity or of prominence within their specific chosen genre since Twilight. Why? Well, because honestly, treating your characters like this, it's a one-trick pony, and once you've seen it, it's done. The second reason why you shouldn't do this takes us out of the story and into the audience. There are a lot of impressionable readers out there, and we already have enough problems in the world as it is, without a bunch of readers thinking that it is okay to treat other people like objects rather than as individuals. Stories are amazing because they can show us the many nuances to interactions with other people, that it's okay to see things from a different perspective, that it is okay to not fully understand someone, because we can show how different people interact and overcome their differences, which is especially meaningful when it comes to something like romance. So often we're like, ooh, yes, this is the perfect fit, and it's just going to be wonderful and good and wholesome, and everyone's just going to love it because it's just so great in my mind. No. that's not the way that works. Now then, you write what you want to write. But when it comes to your audience, think about what they're going to get out of this. This is something that we've talked a lot about in our own individual writing sessions over at Camille's Harem. We've talked about how the audience is going to interact with our stories. And we flat out admitted, we can't control any sort of negative emotions or negative reactions that other people will have to our stories, and we can't help it if people go really ship crazy and start shipping really weird characters together and create very strange and bizarre fan fictions. You can't control that stuff. What you can control is you can control having good, healthy interactions with your characters in your stories and treating them as though they were real people. By doing that, you actually do your audience a service. Your audience becomes more invested in these characters, and it helps to reinforce the values of treating people like people. So those are the two reasons why you should not treat your characters as items or as chess pieces on the board of love, but instead treat them as actual characters. Number one, it does your story a great service, and number two, it does your readers a great service. Now, I did just say that you can write whatever it is that you want to write. If you want to write a smutty story, go ahead and write a smutty story. If you want to write a romance story where people treat each other like objects, fine, go ahead and do that. I can't control what you're going to do. I can only throw out advice and suggestions right here. But let me say something. You can honestly enhance the nuance and the power of your story by being very conscious of this. I advocate for treating your characters like real people, no matter how fantastic or mundane they are within your story. However, if you want to write a character who views their romantic interest as more of a prize to be won than as a person, then there's honestly a lot of good that you can do with this if you are conscious of this particular dynamic right here. For instance, you can actually use this dynamic to highlight just how toxic an individual is, or just how unbalanced and unfair a relationship is when someone views another as merely, that person is mine, that person is my item to be had. If you focus on that, you can highlight then how bad this person is and how much progression they need to go through. Or it can be shown that, this relationship isn't working out and these characters should split, and address some very big real-world concerns. Or you can also use it to enhance the character progression within the story. A couple of examples that we get right here. One of the classics that most people would probably gravitate to would be Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, where Gaston views Belle as just this fantastic trophy to be won. She's so beautiful. She's so ripe for bearing children. She would be the crowning jewel in my tavern of achievements. And as a result, Gaston goes to horrible lengths to win this prize because Belle is something for him to be won. So he is willing to go out and commit murder. This is beautifully contrasted with the Beast, who loves Belle for who she is and is in such a state of grief that he's not yet willing to fight Gaston. And then when he sees Belle and realizes what's at stake, he does fight, but he doesn't fight to kill Gaston. It shows how much he cares about Belle, that he is willing to take the harder route and actually treat people as people in order to have love. That is a wonderful contrast. Or you can also look at a story like The Wheel of Time, where we have Rand and his three lovers, Min, Aviendha, and Elaine. And Elaine is easily the most toxic person in this series of relationships. She views Rand as a prize to be won. She wants him to be that perfect loving consort on her arm and at her beck and call. She wants him to be the perfect baby maker. She wants him for the prestige, for the power. And the crazy thing is this, I honestly do believe it when she says that she loves Rand. She does love him, but she loves him for reasons that aren't exactly healthy. And as a result, it is her relationship that is used by the evil ones within the story, by the Dark One and his minions, to exploit Rand and to try to defeat him, because it is easily the weakest relationship. Aviendha and Min, despite coming from very different backgrounds, treat Rand with respect as an equal. And that is shown throughout the series in how they treat him and how they interact with him and how they also talk about him with other people. Whereas Elaine views Rand as just this beautiful gem to be shut up in her own personal jewelry box. Let's just say I really don't like Elaine, and there's ample reasoning for it throughout the entire series. But Robert Jordan wanted this relationship to go through, and yeah, sure, it's fine and everything, but it definitely highlights that Aviendha and Min are just fantastic best girls, and they deserve all the happiness. So, to sum this up, when it comes to writing romance, please treat your characters like actual people, regardless of who they are. That is the best way to properly develop them. That is the best way to truly connect with your audience, and it is one of the best ways of showing great themes, great character progression, great plot progression, and honestly just a lot of great respect, which is something that we need more in fiction. I have just seen way too much of weird romantic and sexual setups within stories where you can clearly tell that the author is just doing this because they're giggling to themselves as they're writing it, just being like, I so wish I was in this situation. Oh, I want to hold my crush's hand. I want to make out for days. I want to have sex. Come on, please. Sure, you know what? There's plenty of people who write self-gratification within their stories, but we want to do better. Novice writers, you want to. Trust me, you want to do better, and you can do better. How? By treating all of your romantic subplots and main romantic plots with respect and writing your characters as actual people and not as prizes to be won.
I am not a prize to be won.
All right, rant over. If you want to have more good writing advice, please check out our other videos here on YouTube or head on over to our podcast, Camille's Harem. We'd also love to interact with you. We have a subreddit open for you to access, as well as an open invite to anyone who wants to join us over at our Discord server. There we have a whole bunch of fun talking about our stories, talking about writing advice, sharing book suggestions, all different kinds of things. We really want to create a wide community of writers that will support each other in this adventure that we call writing. And thank you so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, please give us a like. Please feel free to subscribe if you want to have more writing advice, more writers' rants, and plenty of analyses and reviews that are coming up in the near future. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.